Sabah al-khair, assalamu alaikum, and a very good morning, colleagues. Thanks for joining us today for this important discussion on early warning system mechanism and how we support the communities at the local level, at the national level, and how all actors are important to have a successful early warning system in the region. It's a regional forum. We will try to have success stories. We will have countries together to share their stories on and the systems they have in place for supporting the communities at the local level, at the national level for early warning system. And we will be having a rich and diverse group of speakers coming from Somalia, from UAE, from Comoros, and we have our speakers from Lebanon also, Dr. Shadi Abdullah, we have Dr. Ahmed Rad, Qasim Chalan, and I will give a brief overview about them as we go through the session. But before we start the session, I would like to inform you that about the global initiative of Secretary General on early warning for all. This early warning initiative is a joint effort and a joint initiative of not only UNDRR, but also WMO, IFRC, and ITU. To give you an example and give you a glimpse of early warning, I will share a quick slide on early warning system and this initiative. One second. I have this side on. I cannot find it. Sorry. Shadi, I can't find it.
You need to share the whole screen.
Yeah, I shared the whole screen. 1 second. Can't find my presentation.
No. It should be open.
Yeah. 1 second.
This is the
This
screen.
is the one. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so it's the.
It will take some time. Yes. UNDRR is the pillar one, is leading pillar one on risk knowledge. And as I said, we have this global initiative with WMO, UNDRR, and IFRC and ITU. It will take a few seconds. Yes. So for early warning for all structure and objectives, you see that pillar one is disaster risk knowledge, where we systematically collect information and undertake the risk assessments and identify the hazards and vulnerabilities. Pillar two is on detection, observation, monitoring, analysis, and forecasting of hazards, where WMO comes forward and talks about developing hazard monitoring and early warning services through their weather guard systems. Pillar three is warning dissemination. It is very important to have the early warning messaging receiving through the communities. And there we have our colleagues from ITU who are supporting on communicating the risk information through IT cell broadcasting tools. And pillar four is on preparedness and response capabilities to build the national community response capabilities to support the communities at local level. Early warning for all is not only is a global joint initiative. So it is not only UNDRR, WMO, or ITU, IFRC. We have other actors also who are part of this global initiative and supporting us in this process. As you can see that many countries have different systems in place, and there are different projects and proposals ongoing to support the countries to have this important mechanism in place. We have UNDP, we have FAO, OCHA, WFP, UN Women, UNICEF, UN Environment Program, and different projects like CRUISE, GCF, GSMA, and SOF. Even UNFCCC and Green Climate Fund comes forward to support the early warning systems initiative. The programmatic approach started at the global level through high-level executive action plan, where it was decided to have an advisory panel for early warning for all initiative, and it is led by UNDRR Geneva office. And at the regional level, the regional offices are supporting the early warning work and the interpillar coordination mechanism to support the countries. We have a monitoring and evaluation framework, and we have programmatic planning implementation strategy. At the regional level, we are supporting on building existing mechanisms and regional interpillar coordination. And at the country level, we support the national coordination led by relevant authorities. And here we are together to hear the country stories today. For the rollout, we start with a gap analysis to have information on what kind of risk information is available. And then the step 2 is the roadmap design, where we develop a thorough roadmap for the countries for that can be used for coming years. So it is not a mechanism where we develop a roadmap just for now, but it is also for a future building. Then the budgeting of activities. If the countries have the whole budgeting process in place, then you will know how much funding and resources are required to support the countries, and the preparation of project proposals and the roadmap implementation. So this initiative is till 2027, and as you can see, we are in Q1 of 2024 already. UNDRR at the global level, at regional level, have conducted several workshops and started supporting different countries, as you can see on the screen, including Maldives, Tajikistan, Ethiopia, Madagascar, Laos, Nepal, Cambodia, Barbados, South Sudan. And we had a successful launch specifically for the Arab region on 15-16 November. We conducted a national workshop and gap analysis to the support of Resident Coordinator Office and also our colleagues from UNDP, and did this workshop for Somalia. But this is not the only thing that we are planning to do. This is a baby step to have the national actors involved in the process, and then the actual work on Pillar 1 starts. We are planning to have a workshop supporting Comoros from 17 to 19 April. And similarly, we have coordinated for another support to Djibouti from 7 to 9 May through our RC office and a focal point. Similarly, for Sudan, it was also part of as a priority country, but due to the ongoing political crisis and the war situation, we couldn't deliver this. However, we have different other initiatives like Water and Heart, and we are planning to have a planning meeting in Cairo to see how we can support the Sudanese authorities through Port Sudan and how we can do the work for now. So this is just a glimpse of our workshop that we did, and we see the early warning for all emphasize the urgent need to ensure that everyone on Earth is protected by early warning by 2027. I know this is a very ambitious goal, but however, if you're not ambitious, we cannot achieve. Thank you very much. And with this, I will invite our first speaker, Dr. Shadi Abdullah, who will present on the early warning system mechanism in Lebanon. 1 minute. Let me stop sharing. 1 second. Where is the file? Dr. Shadi Abdullah is a director of Early Warning System platform in CNRS, Lebanon. He's a researcher and geologist holding a PhD in GIS and remote sensing of natural resources. He has done so much so that it is very difficult to describe in a limited time. However, I am happy to share that he's also a chair of the Arab Science and Technology Advisory Group. He is also a principal investigator on several projects related to natural disasters, water information management, modeling and decision-making assessment. And he is also the president of SIHEM Scientific Advisory Board, managing director for the Lebanese Science Journal, and authored and co-authored over 80 scientific papers in peer-reviewed international journals. Dr. Shadi is also supporting our global colleagues in the Global Assessment Report and special editions on the disaster risk reduction. So very happy to have Shadi today with us, and I will give the floor to him to share his thoughts and information on the Lebanese early warning system.
Thank you, Saira. Thank you. Where's the presentation?
Yes. Go to documents. Here, I take this. And here it is. This is your presentation.
Yeah. No, this is yours. The other one.
Well?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can share on the screen. Yeah, take it. It's here, I think.
This one? Or
Yes, this one.
Okay.
Speak in English or
No, I'll speak in English. Okay. Thank you, Saira. Thank you for the invitation. So today I will talk about the initiative that we had at the CNRS in Lebanon. So it's based on the initiative of the Secretary General, and it will be towards the implementation of the early warning for all in the country. Of course, if you are statistics that have been done lately by the IFRC, we can see that 84% of the hazards and the disasters, they are based on the weather. 95% of the affected people are of these hazards, and around 73% of the cost is related to the weather hazards. And whenever we are talking about weather hazard, it means that it could be predicted. So we can have an early warning. It's not like the earthquakes. We cannot predict it. So this is why that if we are covering 84% of the hazard, it means that we are able to estimate or forecast or predict. It means that 84 of the hazard we are able to deal with it. As you know, Lebanon is the most prevailing hazards in Lebanon. They are the floods, fires, landslides, erosion, earthquakes, tsunamis, droughts, and storms. So most of these we can predict, we can work on it. As Saira was saying about the initiative of the Secretary General, it was in 2022. Since then, we started like working on putting the puzzle together in Lebanon. Of course, it's not like within a glimpse of an eye. There were preparation like since 10 and 15 years before in order to get these information and to gather everything together to put it in a form of an early warning system. We are working on this at the CNRS. Of course, in the CNRS, we have like four main centers, which is the Geophysical Center, we have the Marine Center, the Atomic Energy Center, and the Remote Sensing Center. All these centers, they have an input in the early warning system at the platform. The National Early Warning System platform was initiated last year, and it was with the approval of the Prime Minister. So today we have a mandate for the early warning system on different pillars. So we are working now with our partners. Of course, we have with the DRM unit, we are working closely with the DRM unit. We have an MOV, we have in situ stations that we are measuring. We have a direct connection with the satellite imageries. And of course, we have other national and international institutes that are working in the early warning system that are also providing some information to the platform. All these information, being the CNRS as a scientific arm of the government, it is backed up to the DRM unit. This is the platform. Of course, we are working on, the four pillars of the early warning system. So we have in each and every part, we have partners. These are the main partners that we are working with. We have of course, we are the CNRS, we have the DRM unit. We consider ourselves like as a one entity since the two of us, they are under the umbrella of the Prime Minister office. We have the Litani River Authority, we have the Lebanese Meteorological Department, and of course, our big partner is the Lebanese Red Cross. As we said, we need to understand the risk, and this is part of our mission. So each and every hazard map in the country is prepared by us, as you can see here, on the national scale and on some scales. We have run with the UN DRM unit, with the UNDP, with the FAO, with the World Bank, with the WFP, several studies related to assessing the natural hazard and risk assessment on the country scale, on a regional scale, like the Muhafazat, and for the critical infrastructure, as you can see here. This is for the Ministry of Works and Transportation. So we adopted, like, if we have a war, what are the connectivity and how many nodes, like if something will happen, we will lose connectivity in the country. And this is, as you can see, 4.6 of these critical nodes. If it is bombarded, 99% of the Mount Lebanon will be isolated. We assessed also the schools according to, this is example for earthquake, to see the vulnerability and the impact of the earthquakes. This is Beirut resilience. Also, it's with the World Bank. So we were assessing this, and then the explosion took place. So we needed to have an additional assessment after it was. We were like 2 days before the explosion. We were taking measurement at the area. For the Ministry of Agriculture, we helped them to put like the strategic plan for the disasters and for climatic adaptation. We put the calendar for the hazards. Also with the refugees and the displaced people, we assessed them. We assessed the prevailing hazard for them, as you can see here. For the governmental building in the Lebanon. So this is part of understanding the risk. I will not go like there are many studies and that we have done. This is for the landslides, of course. So we're assessing also the landslides. We are communicating all these with the urban sprawl. If you see, this is Haush al-Umara, and it is part of the Litani River Basin. And this area is classified as an agricultural area. While if you look at the imageries and you are following up with the updating land cover land use, you will see like how much it has changed in around 5 years or 7 years. So we are communicating these with the urban planning schema that are in the country, and we are looking like where are the vulnerability of the areas in terms of the natural hazard with missing these urban planning schemes, as you can see here. So, of course, this is a part of understanding the risk. And now we are moving to the other part of like the early warning and the observation. The observation, they are done either from the satellite imageries or from the in situ measurement data. From the satellite imageries, we have no problem, as we are like peers in working with the remote sensing data. So we are using this for the forest fires. We are using this for the floods, as you can see here. I'm not going into technical things, but we are obtaining on a daily basis and sometimes on an hourly basis, especially for the fires. We are helping the civil defense, the first responders, like to give them the locations of the fires and the probability of having these fires and the fire intensity line when they are when there is a fire taking place. So we do a forecast. We do the nowcast, and the forecast for the 24 hours, as you can see here. And we disseminate this information through like several communication tools, one of which is the apps. Some of them, they are like dashboards that we have with the civil defense. Of course, all of these, they are communicated to the DRM unit, and we are working together in disseminating these information. Now we are working on the floods. We have a pilot project, and we are trying to help the institutes that are having in situ observation and their mandate to do this. We are helping them to get some equipment, update their equipment, renew their equipment to have near real-time data that will help us in processing the models. As you can see here, this is part of AFD Solidarité, and together with the DRM unit, with the LRC, sorry. So we are doing a detailed risk assessment in the area at a scale of 1 to 1,000. And this is as you can see, this is the flow diagram, how when a flood will take place, how it will be communicated. So we have observation from the satellite, from the in situ measurement. All the models will be run at the National Early Warning Platform. If we have any indicator of having like a problem, or can we like have the pointer? Can see the pointer. Anyway, so if we have like an alert, we'll send it to the DRM unit. It will be communicated to the muhafazat and to the districts. And then it will be communicated to the municipalities, the head of the municipalities or the union of the municipalities. And of course, we always like run an early warning, and we run like an raising awareness campaign together with the civil defense, with the Red Cross, as it is clear here. Also, we are disseminating the fires, as you can see here, on a daily basis. These are the dashboards that we are working at. And now we are working like on the early actions. Okay, so we are studying all these, we are disseminating the information, but we are working together. As I told you, like we are all partners in this. With the maybe Qasim will be talking more about the early actions, but we are studying together from the scientific point of view how the activation stages will take place before the hazard will take place. We have an activation checklist, as you can see here. So who's doing what and when, and then we have the feedback mechanism, which is the crowdsourcing. So if something happened, we need to have the lessons learned. We need to have the people informed, and the people will inform us from another side. Like sometimes things would happen that are not modeled due to a certain impact that took place. So we are doing this. We are assessing after the event that's taking place. This is for the fires. And now we are partners, which that the Red Cross is taking, which is the forecast-based financing. So we are working together. We have two modules that we started like implementing, one on the cold wave and the other on the heat wave. So we have selected like certain area which are much more vulnerable than other areas in the country, and we are trying to see the mechanisms that will be working if we have like an early warning for these two events, like for the cold or the heat waves. So how we are going to interact, what are the mechanisms that we can move these funds in order to prevent people or prevent the vulnerable people from being affected from this type of hazard. So I will stop here, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Shadi, for this comprehensive information. And we understand that there is always a need for supporting the countries, and the good work that CNRS is doing and your colleagues are doing makes a difference. Forecast-based financing is also one of the issues that needs to be discussed. However, we move forward to our next speaker, Mr. Khader Sheikh. Mr. Khader Noor is our Sendai focal point for Somalia also, and he has a degree in public health, master's in environmental sciences, and from 2011 to 2013, Mr. Khader was holding the position as head of unit vulnerability and mapping unit at the Department of Preparedness and DRR of Somalia Disaster Management Agency. And for now, he's the director of DRM at the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Disaster Management, which was previously called Mahadim and now SODMA. Over to you, Khader. Can you please switch on your video and share your screen? I hope you can hear me.
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you, Khader. Can you please put on your presentation mode? Yes. Over to you.
Yeah, thank you so much, colleagues. Thank you so much, Sarah. And of course, I'll proceed with my presentation. Of course, I expect that I'll go through the success story with the early warning, multi-hazard early warning systems of Somalia. Therefore, it's not moving. Yeah, okay. Thank you so much. So I'll go through the introduction and the outline of my presentation as portrayed here. Therefore, in light with the establishment of early warning system in Somalia, there's always an existing impediment that a gap that exists always. So it's not often perfect for us here. So early warning systems are not actually linked into actions. They don't mostly trigger actions because of the gaps we have in terms of disseminating the information that's available. Actions are often planned in isolation by the different agencies instead of adopting a holistic integrated approach. Therefore, responses to hazards are usually informed by early warning systems, but still implement a reactive programming approach wherein temporary measures are adopted. Early warning systems here, the measures that are instituted have little consideration of linkage between plans to action with management to address risks in the long term. Different stakeholders continue to support communities through multiple ad hoc programs with fragmented approaches complicated by short-term funding. Therefore, early warning as an integral part is also having difficult and challenge in terms of taking the information to the end user. So the federal government of Somalia has of course, launched a national multi-hazard early warning system. So the early warning system fund largely now depends on programs that are funded through ARC and is only limited on to drug barometric insurance, but not yet scaled to multi-hazards like the tropical cyclone and epidemics. Of course, we have modeled a pilot flood model, which now we've set some triggers and of course some thresholds. Therefore, and of course, what if is a big word for us. So what if those hazards that we've already set thresholds for are not occurring, but other hazards are occurring. Of course, the preparedness is not that much perfect, but we are looking into the early warning for all initiative that has recently been launched in Somalia by UNDRR and the other pillar leaders to, of course, fill the gap. But early warning should be linked with action. And even if what was anticipated does not take effect, therefore, a hazard here in any time may take effect. And of course, launching the multi-hazard early warning center is this picture is showing the during the 2020, the year 2020, when the multi-hazard early warning system was launched in Somalia. And therefore, this is the situation room that monitoring of and risk, identifying risk is always happening. So we've also developed an institutional framework for the multi-hazard, which is linking early warning to action. And of course, recently, we have also launched a national flood anticipatory action framework with a model that responds before the event happens. Therefore, this is the response triggering, which is way before the event happens. Of course, we have that model in place, and of course, we have piloted for 5 districts, 5 locations now, and we're going to increase more now. Therefore, the triggers that were set, and of course the riverine water level, it's now only addressing the riverine flooding, but rather than flash floods. So the lead time here, and of course the lead time has readiness and implementation, which both lead times have different time scale, and then 10 days lead time for readiness and 8 days lead time for implementation. And of course, the false alarm here is low, and of course the probability of detection here is high. So which means that the model has been tried and of course tested during the October, December of 2023, and it has done well with the floods that we have experienced. Of course, that has been developed. This is the model, and of course it has the threshold and the triggering point. It has the focus and the current. Therefore, where we are now. So effort is so far, as I was saying, the National Multi-Hazard Early Warning System was launched in 2020. Early Warning Systems Framework for Flood was launched in 2023, focusing on 5 riverine districts. With this was a test on enhancing the resilience of individuals, households, and of course communities to recurrent shocks and minimizing the impact of climate risks. A model to trigger action for riverine floods was piloted, and of course, as I was showing, contingents and of course evacuation plans that are informed by early warning systems were developed for now 2 districts. So the gap here is, of course, no single agents or uncoordinated programs can effectively address the diverse needs. So in areas affected by repeated floods, conflicts, and other natural hazards. Therefore, by sustaining the current status quo, Somalia will face the mounting repercussion of shocks and bear the opportunity cost of missing out on holistic chance for shared vision to build a resilient future for our country. So the way forward, we think that in order to link early warning to action, the government of Somalia is now stepping up to strengthen the existing coordination capacity by establishing a national dialogue platform for anticipatory action. So that is informed by early warning system. Of course, the purpose of the national dialogue platform is of course, linked with the multi-hazard early warning systems coordination umbrella, and of course, it will advance development solutions, promote support and coordination for sustainable management and development of early warning systems for accelerated access of early warning information for all to safeguard the well-being of communities at risk. Of course, the support is support developed of multi-hazard models for flood, drought, tropical cyclone, and epidemic, a multi-hazard model. So coordination, for example, coordinate early warning investment made by private sector, government, or non-governmental bodies, and ensure they comply with early warning systems framework or strategies, and avoid overlaps of interventions, duties, and responsibilities. Of course, the stakeholder engagement process will have 3 phases. At the national level, stakeholder engagement will have participants from agencies and line ministers. The objective here is to introduce roadmap to relevant stakeholders. Carry out multi-hazard early warning systems feasibility study has been done. It had been done earlier with the support of UNDRR. Document the challenges and document previous experience. Document ongoing efforts, gain consensus and key issues, and thus increased ownership of the roadmap itself. Phase 2 is at the local level, and participants include communities, business people, civil society, private sector, local government officials, and so on. So the objective here is to introduce a roadmap to local stakeholders who are directly beneficiaries of the roadmap. Therefore, we capitalize on the stakeholders' experience and gain stakeholders' consensus. So phase 3 is international stakeholders engagement, and participants like UN and other international donors. The objective here is to provide updates of ongoing early warning systems project, then give insights on early warning systems coordination and financial arrangement needed. Therefore, guiding principles are include value simplicity, and of course several principles like 6 principles are identified, and of course I'll go through this, but the functions of the National Early Warning Systems Technical Working Group has also been tried, and of course a TOR was developed for multi-hazard for technical working group for multi-hazard early warning systems risk mitigation. Therefore, the set of issues that have been identified include the priorities, and of course agree on standards and norms, thresholds and triggers for different hazards, contribute to the collective risk of knowledge, and evidence-based. Of course, that include an impact-based early warning system. Therefore, coordinate investment and link the system to planned actions of stakeholders. Assess compliance to priorities, standards, and systems coordination. Monitor progress towards completion and annual review to inform any revisions to standards, norms, and priorities. Therefore, the last slide here is the key strategic area. Then the early warning systems technical working group will focus on the following 3 key strategic area that is linked to action. So here, strategic 1 is financing of early warning systems and alignment of funds. Therefore, strategic 2 is harmonization and coordination of early warning systems initiative and projects. Then 3 is production of knowledge and information sharing and monitoring progress. Therefore, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Khadar, for this useful information. Also, we are so happy to see and impressed by the launch of the Multi-Hazard Early Warning Center that happened in Somalia. And I also agree with the anticipatory action approach that is much needed to have the financing available to support the country. On your point on harmonization of the efforts for financing and also for early warning initiatives in the country, that is the main idea, that early warning for all initiative is not limited to only with the work that the partner agencies are doing, but also linked to the other initiatives, so there is no duplication of effort. I thank you again, and with this I give the floor to our National Sendai Focal Point from Comoros. Comoros, ladies and gentlemen, is also the priority country for early warning for all. Mr. Hamidi Sule is a geologist by training, specialized in environmental impact studies, and he's also a lecturer, researcher at University of Comoros, and he joined the Karthala Volcanological Observatory, and he's the main manager and head of the unit, and now he's the designated UN Habitat also focal point for urban resilience. Over to you, Mr. Hamidi. I hope you can hear me, and the floor is yours. I can hear.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to meet you and to present the observatory for Comoros. I will speak in French. Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup. I will speak in French.
Mr. Hamidi, we cannot hear you too well. Can you please repeat? It's for Mr.
Est-ce que vous me recevez? Est-ce que vous me recevez?
Mr. Hamidi, we cannot hear you too well. Can you please repeat?
que vous me recevez? Est-ce que vous me recevez?
Yes, please go ahead.
It's good? Est-ce que vous me recevez? It's good? Ok, merci beaucoup. Ok, merci beaucoup et content d'être parmi vous. Je veux vous présenter quelques aspects institutionnels de la gestion du système d'alerte précoce aux Comores. Et puis, je vais me focaliser par la suite sur une expérience de la gestion de l'alerte du système d'alerte du volcan Kartala. Alors, de façon générale, les Comores sont exposés à plusieurs risques, dont les principaux sont les cyclones tropicaux. Alors, les Comores se trouvent sur la trajectoire des cyclones tropicaux qui affectent le sud-ouest de l'océan Indien. Et chaque année, plusieurs cyclones qui arrivent dans la région sont susceptibles d'affecter les Comores, situées entre Madagascar et la côte est africaine. Ces cyclones sont plus ou moins atténués par la présence de Madagascar. Comme vous pouvez le voir sur le graphique ci-dessus, par la présence de Madagascar. Comme vous pouvez le voir sur le graphique ci-dessus. Alors, la gestion de l'alerte, du système d'alerte volcanique et de façon générale l'ensemble des alertes liées aux différents aléas est assurée par plusieurs institutions. Donc, on a au niveau national la Direction générale de la sécurité civile qui assure la coordination, la préparation et la réponse pour l'ensemble des aléas. Et puis, on a des structures de veille et d'observation des différents aléas, donc des structures spécialisées telles que la direction technique de la météorologie, qui assure l'alerte pour les aléas hydrométéorologiques. L'Observatoire volcanologique du Kartala pour les aléas géophysiques, donc y compris le volcan Kartala, mais aussi tous les phénomènes sismiques qui interviennent dans la région. Et puis la direction de la santé, qui dispose de cellules de veille pour toutes les aléas sanitaires et des épidémies. Alors, il existe un certain nombre d'outils et de dispositifs au niveau national qui permettent d'assurer ces risques et de gérer les alertes, notamment l'existence de la stratégie nationale pour la réduction des risques de catastrophe qui est élaborée depuis 2005 et qui est en cours de révision actuellement. Le plan national de préparation et de réponse aux urgences, le plan
Mr.
de contingence national, le plan de contingence national élaboré en 2012 et qui est revu régulièrement tous les 2 ans. Alors, il y a à côté de ce plan de contingence des plans de secours spécifiques. Donc, il y a par exemple le plan d'alerte cyclonique, il y a le plan Cartala pour les éruptions volcaniques, il y a un plan pour les pollutions marines et le déversement des hydrocarbures en mer. Alors, les circuits de l'information et de l'alerte cyclonique que je vous montre ici, comme exemple, vous avez la Direction nationale de la météorologie qui est au centre, en fait, de diffusion de l'alerte, avec la Direction de la sécurité civile qui reçoit la suite en collaboration avec la Direction technique de la météorologie, la diffusion de l'alerte auprès des médias et par la suite auprès de la population. On a ici également le cas de la diffusion de l'alerte liée aux éruptions volcaniques, avec, en fonction de l'alerte, donc on a 3 niveaux d'alerte. Donc l'alerte est gérée et diffusée par l'Observatoire volcanologique du Karthala et par l'intermédiaire de la sécurité civile qui peut mobiliser en fait toutes les parties prenantes au niveau national et par la suite assurer en collaboration avec l'Observatoire volcanologique du Karthala la transmission de l'alerte aux autorités, aux médias et à la population. Alors, je vais me focaliser maintenant sur un cas précis de l'éruption du Karthala en 2005, la dernière éruption en date qui est intervenue en 2005. Donc, le Karthala qui est présent sur l'île de la Grande Comore, comme on peut le voir ici, et qui peut avoir 2 types d'éruptions. Il peut avoir des éruptions explosives ou bien des éruptions effusives. Donc avec des coulées de lave qui peuvent s'épancher le long des pentes du volcan sur lesquelles se trouvent des habitations et bien évidemment des infrastructures et des populations qui vivent dans des villages sur ces pentes. Alors, sur cette carte qui montre un peu la dispersion des différentes coulées de lave autour de l'île, donc on voit que les coulées de lave peuvent s'épancher un peu partout autour de l'île, sur la partie sud de l'île, notamment la ville de Moroni qui peut être menacée par une coulée de lave, comme on peut le voir sur le flanc sud-ouest du volcan Karthala. Donc la plupart de ces coulées partent du sommet et arrivent jusqu'au niveau de l'océan. Donc au passage, plusieurs populations peuvent être affectées et plusieurs infrastructures peuvent être touchées. Ces éruptions peuvent avoir des impacts importants sur l'ensemble de la population sur l'île, notamment avec les éruptions explosives qui peuvent entraîner des retombées de cendres importantes, mais également des destructions importantes puisque les coulées de lave peuvent tout détruire sur leur passage. Mais le dépôt de cendres à l'issue des éruptions explosives peuvent être aussi à l'origine des inondations par des laves, donc des coulées d'eau boueuse. Donc en période de pluie, plusieurs villages peuvent être affectés par des coulées d'eau boueuse issues de l'érosion des cendres. Alors, je vous montre ici l'observation et le suivi de l'éruption du Karthala avant son éruption en 2005. Donc, on a ici le suivi sismologique, puisque le Kartala, le volcan Kartala, est suivi par un réseau de surveillance sismologique, mais aussi par un réseau de déformation qui permettent de prévenir les éruptions et de les prédire de manière à prédire les éruptions à la population. Donc, on a ici, par exemple, les essaims des séismes qui sont détectés par le réseau de surveillance plusieurs jours avant l'éruption, et on voit que ces essaims, ces signaux s'acheminent régulièrement vers le sommet. Donc, et c'est un phénomène qui peut être suivi de près par le réseau de surveillance de manière à prévenir et à prédire les éruptions du volcan Kartala pour alerter la population. Alors, la sismicité journalière qui est représentée ici peut permettre de voir plusieurs mois à l'avance la mise en place d'une éruption sans pour autant avoir une précision sur le jour de l'éruption, comme on peut le voir ici. Donc, on peut voir des crises, ce qu'on appelle des crises sismiques qui peuvent s'accumuler sans qu'on ait une éruption, ce qui constitue un problème important dans la précision de la prédiction, étant donné que ces crises sismiques ne s'accompagnent pas automatiquement, ne sont pas suivis automatiquement d'une éruption. Alors, je vais vous parler, pour finir, des gaps existants sur les systèmes d'alerte précoce aux Comores de façon générale. Donc, après ce partage d'expérience sur l'éruption du volcan Kartala, surtout une absence de couverture du système d'alerte précoce pour certains aléas majeurs. Aux Comores, on a un système d'alerte qui permet de couvrir l'aléa cyclone tropical, mais pas les inondations. On a aussi un système d'alerte qui permet de couvrir les éruptions volcaniques, mais toujours est-il qu'il y a plusieurs aléas importants pour le pays qui ne sont pas couverts par les systèmes d'alerte. Donc, un système d'alerte spécifique pour les différents aléas majeurs du pays. Il y a également une carence en capacité humaine et technique pour assurer une très bonne observation et suivi des aléas. C'est un problème au niveau national, étant donné que le système d'alerte, surtout le système d'observation, nécessite une technicité importante, donc un système qui est très pointu et qui demande des formations qualifiées, avec bien évidemment des personnes bien formées pour assurer l'observation et le suivi de ces aléas. Et puis, ce qui constitue une difficulté à avoir une précision sur la prédiction, tant les équipements techniques qu'il faut ne sont pas suffisants et ne sont pas diversifiés pour avoir une précision, mais également l'absence de financement durable, étant donné que dans la plupart des cas, les États attendent et s'engagent généralement dans l'intervention et après la catastrophe, mais hésitent très souvent à s'engager dans la prévision et la prévention du risque. Merci pour votre attention.
Thank you so much, Mr. Hamidi. It's a pleasure to hear your thoughts on early warning system mechanism in Comoros. We truly understand that the volcanic eruption is one of the biggest hazard that is facing Comoros right now. But we look forward to continuing working under the different initiatives that are. Thank you so much, Mr. Hamidi. It's a pleasure to hear your thoughts on early warning system mechanism in Comoros. We truly understand that the volcanic eruption is one of the biggest hazard that is facing Comoros right now. But we look forward to continuing working under the different initiatives that are. It's a pleasure to hear your thoughts on early warning system mechanism in Comoros. We truly understand that the volcanic eruption is one of the biggest hazard that is facing Comoros right now. Can you mute your speaker, Mr. Hamidi, please? Thank you. So with this, we will move to our next speaker, and the next speaker is our dear fellow from United Arab Emirates. And we have our Mohammed Zabi, who is working in the United Arab Emirates at NCMA, and he's the head of the support system. Mohammed, over to you. I hope you're online.
Thank you for the introduction, and allow me to switch in Arabic. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله جميع الحضور. شرفني اليوم إني أنا أكون معاكم في المؤتمر هذا المتميز، واستمتعنا الصراحة واستفدنا من بعض العروض اللي سمعناها. أنقل لكم تحيات الإدارة العليا عندنا في الهيئة الوطنية لإدارة الطوارئ والأزمات. اسمي محمد الزعابي. أنا مسؤول عن النظم والدعم الفني في الهيئة، وكذلك عن نظام الإنذار المبكر اللي موجود في الدولة. اليوم بشرح لكم عن النظام الإنذار المبكر في دولة الإمارات العربية المتحدة، وكيف طبقنا النظام في الدولة. Is it okay, Sarah? You can see it?
Yes, I can see it. Can you please put your presentation mode?
It's already presentation mode.
Projection mode, please.
The projection mode possible?
Let me check.
Slideshow.
Already in the slideshow.
Yes.
Can you switch on the yes? Thank you.
Thank you. فاليوم بتكلم عن المنظومة الوطنية للإنذار المبكر في دولة الإمارات العربية المتحدة. طبعا نحن كدور للمنظومة الوطنية للإنذار المبكر طلعت بحسب متطلبات إطار سنتين للحد من مخاطر الكوارث، اللي هو الهدف رقم 7، اللي هو زيادة بشكل كبير في توفير إمكانية الوصول إلى أنظمة تحذير متعددة المخاطر ومعلومات وتقييمات مخاطر الكوارث. طبعا العناصر الرئيسية لأنظمة الإنذار المبكر المرتكزة على الأفراد. نحن عندنا في دولة الإمارات نقوم بجميع الأدوار اللي خاصة بالإنذار المبكر. بما يخص معرفة بالخطر، عندنا سجل المخاطر الوطني اللي يحتوي جميع المخاطر المتوقعة على الدولة، من مخاطر طبيعية، مخاطر بيئية، مخاطر من صنع الإنسان، أو مخاطر تهديدات أخرى. هذا موجود سجل المخاطر الوطني، ودائما يتحدث من فترة لفترة بحسب المخاطر وبحسب السيتويشن اللي صاير في الدولة. كذلك عندنا دور اللي هو تقوم به الجهات المراقبة والرصد. عندنا جهات معنية تقوم بالمراقبة والرصد في الدولة. على سبيل المثال نتكلم عن الأمور الطبيعية، عندنا مركز الإرصاد الوطني في دولة الإمارات، هو يقوم برصد جميع الحالات الجوية وما يخص الأمطار والحالات الجوية السيئة. يكون كل هذا من عند مراكز هذه الجهات، وهم يقومون بالمراقبة والرصد. أو عندنا يعني شتى الجهات المعنية بالمراقبة والرصد في الدولة. عندنا النشر والاتصالات. اليوم أنا بتكلم عن هذا البورشن، كيف احنا نوصل المعلومة للجمهور في دولة الإمارات. وآخر شيء طبعا نركز فيه قدرات الاستجابة، هذا بالتعاون مع الجهات أو المجتمع المحلي. كيف أن اليوم نعزز من قدرات على المستوى المحلي في تمكينهم على قدرة في الاستجابة، شو اللي مطلوب من الجمهور والمجتمع في الاستجابة عليه، وكذلك نتأكد من وجود جميع الإمكانيات المعنية بالاستجابة للمخاطر. طبعا هذا تم شرحه من اللي هو الانذار المبكر للجميع، وان شاء الله نشوف انها توصل لمنتهاها. طبعا لكل موضوع وما يخص الانذار المبكر، لانشاء المنظومه الوطنيه للانذار المبكر هي تتكون من 3 اشياء. ضروري يكون عندك تشريعات وسياسات والاطر اللازمه علشان تحوكم عمليه الانذار المبكر، وتكون الامور واضحه وكل واحد عارف ادواره ومسؤولياته. كذلك ضروري وجود بنيه تقنيه متكامله. نتكلم عن تكنيكال، نتكلم من بنيه تحتيه معنيه ارسال الرسائل او الرسائل التحذيريه، وكذلك بنيه تحتيه معنيه ب dissemination او اللي هو معنيه ب برودكاست الرسائل. وكذلك يكون عندك اكثر من وسيله وقناه نشر متنوعه للانذار المبكر. نحن في البدايه قبل ما نبدا النظام، من الاطار العام للمنظومه الوطنيه للانذار المبكر، الدوره من الاطار العام اللي هو توحيد الاستراتيجيات والسياسات والاجراءات المعنيه بمنظومه الانذار المبكر، ايجاد اسلوب عمل موحد متكامل تتبناه الجهات المعنيه، تحديد السياسات والضوابط لعمليه التواصل مع الجمهور وتحذيرهم في جميع مراحل اداره الطوارئ والازمات والكوارث، تحديد الاليات والمحكمات لضمان فعاليه التحذيرات والقدره على التحذير، تحديد مسؤوليات الجهات المعنيه المختلفه في المنظومه. طبعا هذا اطار عام معتمد من المستوى الاعلى في الدوله، وتم توزيعه لجميع الجهات المعنيه لمعرفه ادوارهم ومسؤولياتهم فيما يخص الانذار المبكر. من مراحل مشروع الانذار المبكر على السريع، احنا في 2017 اصدرنا المرحله الاولى اللي هو الانهاء من المنظومه. كذلك اهلنا وسيله النشر. طبعا احنا اخترنا اللي هي سله بودكاست واشتغلنا عليها في الدوله، وتم تاهيل وسيله النشر الهواتف. هذا كله عشان احنا نجهز لاطلاق المنظومه. كذلك رحنا مع اعداد وتفعيل مواصفات الهواتف المحموله في الدوله. اشتغلنا مع هيئه تنظيم الاتصالات في الدوله، نتاكد ان جميع الهواتف تستقبل السله برودكاست او تستقبل الرسائل التحذيريه على الهواتف. وكذلك تفعيل الانظمه الالكترونيه في الهيئات طوارئ الازمات، وكذلك المرخص لهم اللي هم شركات الاتصالات، نتاكد ان النظام جاهز. بعد ما صار كل هذا تم اطلاق النظام في 2018. تم تدريب الجهات للنظام على المعنيه على النظام، وتم تطوير مواصفات فنيه للبروتوكول كاب اللي بشرح عنه سلايد لاحق، وكذلك توعيه وتثقيف الجمهور. المرحله الثالثه تم تطوير نظام الكتروني متكامل، بدينا نربط مع وسائل النشر الاضافيه، ندرس كيف الاذاعه والتلفزيون ومكبرات الصوت والالواح الذكيه. كذلك عملنا مع الجهات المعنيه لتطبيق المواصفات، وكذلك استمرينا في توعيه وتثقيف الجمهور. طبعا احنا اخترنا توظيف اللي هي تقنيه البث الخلوي، لان احنا شفناها اسرع واسهل طريقه انك انت تفعل فيها الانذار للجماهير. طبعا الهواتف اليوم اغلبها موجوده عند الجميع ومتناول اليد وسهل الوصول لها، والكل عنده الهواتف. طبعا من اهم الاشياء اللي تاكدنا منها الحفاظ على خصوصيه مستلمي الرسائل التحذيريه. اليوم انا ما محتاج اعرف الشخص اللي بيستلم الرساله ويوصل له تليفونه، وما في يعني لا اعرف من هذا الشخص وشو اسمه او كم رقم تليفونه، ما له داعي، يوصل دايركت الى التليفون نفسه. سرعه عاليه في بث الرسائل التحذيريه، وتم تجريبها. بالامكان انك ترسل ل 10 مليون شخص في 5 ثواني. هذا يعني نحن جربناه في اكثر من حاله في الدوله، والحمد لله يعني كانت ناجحه. هي بعض التحديات التقنيه، ولكن التجربه يعني ممتازه. تقدر تحضر على مستوى الدوله كلها، دوله الامارات، في ثواني معدوده تبلغ كلهم في اذا في حاله لا سمح الله يعني تبغى توصلها للجمهور. لا يوجد تاثير على اداء شبكه الاتصالات، ما في اي يعني صعوبه او ان في مشكله ياثر على الهواتف المتحركه والارسال، ما فيه. الموثوقيه المصداقيه، المعنى انه مش نفس الاس ام اس ان الشخص يقدر يدخل ويغير الرسائل، لا، هذه تكون طالعه في كبوبه في التليفون، وما يقدر اي حد يغير فيها الا اذا يعني شال الصوره وعملها سكرين شوت. بس توصل تتاكد ان يوم توصل انك تعرف طالعه من جهه يعني في الدوله معتمده وجهه حكوميه. طبعا التحذير عن حسب الموقع الجغرافي، تقدر تحدد انت اي مكان في خريطه في المنطقه، وتوصل الرساله الى الاشخاص اللي فقط متواجدين في الموقع هذا. طبعا احنا طلعنا ببروتوكول اللي هو الكاب، بروتوكول دولة الإمارات المتحدة. اليوم البروتوكول هذا هي لغة تقنية موحدة، هي هذه معنية بالداخل في أمور التكنيكال، أمور التقنية. من اليوم كيف يتم أنا أقدر أرسل رسالة واحدة، ولكن من داخل الرسالة يمكن أنك أنت توجهها لأكثر من وسيلة نشر. يعني نفس الرسالة ممكن تروح للهواتف، وتقدر تروح للراديو والتلفزيون، بس from one click. هذا اوريدي نحن عندنا مطبق فيه مثل البروتوكول موجود دولة الإمارات المتحدة. نحن وي فاين تيونت وغيرناه بحسب الأشياء اللي حسب القدرات اللي عندنا في الدولة، من سايرن، من تليفونات، من تلفزيونات، كل هذه from one click you can disseminate your message to all of people. وهذا طبعا معتمد عندنا ويحدث من فترة لفترة. طبعا هذا باختصار كيف اليوم عمل المنظومة الوطنية نظام مبكر. الجهات طبعا في شغل في الخلف اللي هو المعرفة بالخطر والإنذار. أنا بتكلم اليوم كيف نحن نرسل. الجهات المعنية في على مستوى المحلي والاتحادي الوطني يقومون بإصدار التحذير، يدخلون النظام يقوم بإصدار التحذير. كذلك يوصل للبنية التحتية لإنفراستراكشر النظام موجود في الدولة، في الهيئة الوطنية لإدارة الطوارئ والأزمات، ومن ثم يوصل للجمهور. حاليا نحن اللي مفعل الهواتف المحمولة ومكبرات المساجد، هذا مفعل ومطبق اليوم، في ممكن احنا نراسلهم بشكل مباشر الاشخاص اللي موجودين او اللي بقرب من هذه الوسيلتين. هذا فيديو كيف الصوت اللي كيف سلوك الهاتف اذا توصل الرساله الى الاشخاص، توصل الرساله بهالطريقه. طبعا نحن استخدمنا مجالات استخدام المنظومه الوطنيه للانذار المبكر، نحن استخدمناه اكثر في الحالات الجويه، الضباب والعواصف والاعاصير الشديده. احنا تصيرنا من فتره لفتره عندنا مواسم يكون فيه ضباب كثير، هذا يعني ساعد في استخدام النظام ان الشخص قبل ما يوصل منطقه اللي بيكون فيها الضباب توصل الرساله ان التحذير ان فيه امامك ضباب كثيف، خفف السرعه او خذ الطرق البديله. الحمد لله هذا يعني فيما يخص احنا نقيس من فتره لفتره تاثير الاثر، قياس الاثر للمنظومه، والحمد لله كان في خفض كبير في الحوادث في فتره الضباب. وطبعا في جهات مثل القيادات الشرطيه هي اللي تستخدم النظام فيما يخص الضباب. الفعاليات الكبرى مرات يكون عندنا زحمه كثيره، خصوصا في اكسبو كان في فتره كوفيد استخدمنا النظام للتباعد ولإرشاد الناس. رأس السنة الميلادية مرات يكون عندنا في خصوصا في إمارة دبي يكون في ضغط كبير ويكون في حشود كثيرة، فمرات يكون نضطر ان احنا نريد نوصل رسالة للأشخاص المتواجدين للجميع في نفس الوقت، والحمد لله يعني تم تطبيقه في أكثر من مرة وله فائدة. طبعا الفورمولا 1، الحوادث الجسيمة، التمارين الوطنية، عندنا استحدثنا للسلامة العامة إذا لا سمح الله في حريق كبير أو في شيء قد يؤثر على سلامة الناس، في إمكانيته يستخدم النظام لإبلاغ الرسائل للنظام. طبعا كل واحد من هذيلا لهم، نحن سمعنا صوت، لكن في بعض الأمور اللي هي مثلا السلامة العامة اللي هو التأثير ما نريد نزعج الناس، فممكن نختار قناة أخرى يكون الصوت هو نفس يوصلك مثل رسالة، وصوت الاس ام اس اللي مخزن في تليفونك، صوت الرسائل اللي في تليفونك، وهذا مستخدم مطبق. طبعا نتائج تطبيق النظام الانذار المبكر، تعتبر دولة الامارات من اوائل الدول اللي وظفت تقنية البث الخلوي. طورنا بروتوكول، عدد الهواتف اللي اليوم مفعلة وتستخدم تقنية البث الخلوي 85 تقريبا 85% من الهواتف في الدولة. تقريبا يمكن تم اصدار من 2018، الحين المبلغ الرقم زاد، يمكن وصلنا 6000 رساله تحذيريه. الجمهور من فتره لفتره نعمل مثل استبيانات نتاكد هل وصلت الرساله، هل تم الاستفاده. فتقريبا 78% تم يعني وصلت لهم الرساله، واللي ما وصلت له مثلا يكون له مشكله تقنيه او مثلا ما كان عنده التليفون في وقته. نسبه وعي الجمهور بالمنظومه تقريبا 80%، ومن كثر ما نستخدم المنظومة من فترة لفترة تزيد الإحصائية هذه. طبعا احنا استخدمناه في فترات هذه. اللغات، النظام طبعا يعني بحكم ان دولة الامارات تستضيف اكثر من 200 جنسية، فنحن نستخدم عدة لغات مختلفة لارسال الرسائل. يعني في الوقت الحالي يمكن استخدمنا 7 لغات: انجليزية، الصينية، الاردية. مثل هذه اللغات تم استخدامها، وذلك بحسب الداتا بيس او البيانات اللي عندنا. في بعض المناطق عندنا نحن يكون فيه تجمع لجنسيات معينه، وهذا كله نحن عارفينه. فاذا كنا نريد نرسل رساله الى منطقه معينه وفيها جنسيه معينه، نختار طبعا الرساله حسب البيانات اللي عندنا ان هذه المنطقه فيها هذه الجنسيه ويتكلمون هذه اللغه. فمن الافضل انك ترسل رساله الى هذه المنطقه باللغه اللي هم عارفينها. طبعا دائما يكون في عربي وانجليزي، ونضيف عليها اللغة الثالثة اللي معنية بالمنطقة. هذه أمثلة على تنبيهات النظام إنذار مبكر استخدمناه في مثلا ضباب، يوصل مثل هالطريقة هذه بالعربي والإنجليزي. هني كان في فترة كوفيد برنامج التعقيم الوطني كذلك يوصل عربي وإنجليزي. وإذا في يعني وي ار تارجتنج أو مناطق معينة، بتشوفون هني مثلا يكون مرات يكون بلغات مختلفة، نتأكد أنه يوصل لجميع شرائح المجتمع في الدولة. خارطة الطريق المستقبلية لنظام إنذار مبكر، إن شاء الله نحن يعني شغالين إن من النظام from one click also تقدر توصل إلى الشاشات الرقمية اللي في الشوارع. اليوم موجودة الشاشات وتستعملها، وكل إمارة لها شاشات ويحذرون الناس من فترة لفترة. لكن نحن نريد نوصل إن من نظام واحد سنترلايز نقدر نرسل الشاشات الرقمية، الرسائل إلى الشاشات الرقمية from one click. الإذاعة شغالين مع الراديو، عندنا على إن شاء الله قاعدين نشتغل على الداب راديو، وكذلك على الار دي اس راديو، وهذا في مرحلة نهائية في الدولة إن شاء الله بيكون مطبق. التلفزيون قاعدين نشتغل إنه يكون في مثل بانر يطلع في التلفزيون ونوصله. كذلك الخارطة الطريق المستقبلية إن شاء الله بيكون أتمتة النظام مستشعرات الرصد، انه يكون اليوم ديتكتد او يكون في مستشعر يستشعر بالخطر. اليوم هذا موجود ويوصل هيومن، الشخص يكون قاعد يرسل رساله من كذا وبعدين تطلع رساله الى التليفون. اليوم نحن اللي نريد نلغي تدخل الانسان، خلاص يستشعر الخطر ويرسل رساله تحذيريه على المستوى الجغرافي بحسب يعني تقييم الموقف. وقاعدين نشتغل في هذا ان النظام فول اوتوميشن وندخل الاي اي في النظام. هذا النظام بشكل عام، وشكرا على استماعكم. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mohammed Salim Zabi. That is indeed, it is a very success story from UAE. We're very pleased to see how different messages you are sending across the communities and in different languages, because that is a very good idea to reach different communities and in different languages. Also, I was very impressed to see that the level of the work that you are doing in terms of joining hands with so many actors and not forgetting the communities at local level. So that I hope that with your cooperation, other countries can also benefit, and especially the least developed countries and the SIDS. But we are happy to have more information from you later as well. Thank you, Mohammed. I will invite another speaker now, but it was a pleasure to have you. But stay online because we will have more questions for you. Colleagues, we will move forward to our next speaker, Mr. Ahmed Rad. Ahmed is an IT expert on telecommunication regulation. He also is a technical consultant for the Lebanese Ministry of Telecommunication, OGIRO, contributing significantly to various pioneering projects in the telecom domain, including MPLS, IMS, LTE, OTN, FTTX. Since they are very technical terms, I don't know what exactly it is, but seems very interesting work that you have done so far. Ahmed has experience for exceeding 20 years at Lebanese and CNAM universities. With no further delay, I'd hand over the floor to Ahmed to share information on specifically on Pillar 3 on dissemination information on behalf of ITU. Over to you, Ahmed.
Thank you. Okay. So my plan, I will begin by a small background regarding the e-warning system for all. Next, I will talk about the status of EWS in Arab countries. And I will focus on the pillar 3 regarding the dissemination and communication of warning data and warning messages. I will talk late to the role of telecom and ICT in early warning system, and I will give some facts and figure regarding Arab countries and especially Lebanon. And I will end up for some recommendation regarding this sector, this important sector in early warning system. So for background, Saira already covered the background, so we go quickly regarding the 4 pillars defined by the WMO for the multi-hazard early warning system for all. And you see that among these 4 pillars, the pillar 3 is the most important one and led by ITU and cover the part of warning, dissemination, and communication. The pillar 3, the aim of pillar 3 is to ensure that the warning information is communicated to all people at risk, and that these people should understand the risk involved in the warning information. Here are some figures regarding the Sendai framework monitor reporting. We see that for Arab countries, we still have more reports to provide it. We are about 50%. So almost half of countries are reporting to the Sendai framework, and we need to improve this part of reporting. We can see also for each pillar, the reporting to SFM for each pillar, and we see that the pillar 3 is maybe the best one, but it needs to be improved as well. For Arab countries, we have 36% of reporting on data regarding the early warning system. For mobile early warning system, we have 3 successful cases in Arab countries, in United Arab Emirates, as we've seen just in the presentation before this one, and in Saudi Arabia and in Oman. These are 3 Arab countries installed the mobile early warning system successfully, and they are using 2 types of services covered by the mobile networks, which are the cell broadcasting and local broadcasting, SMS, that I will talk a little bit later on. What is the role of telecom ICT in early warning system? Telecom ICT capacity is a critical factor to strengthen resilience and to improve the early warning system framework. You know, without this part of network infrastructure and ICT service, we cannot disseminate early warning data to all people at risk. And we need to improve always this infrastructure to ensure that all needed data and warning to be shared with all people at risk. So strong growth in telecom ICT networks and service increase the number of communication platform and channel to reach communities at risk. Even the telecom ICT sector is needed in all, let's say, phases of disaster management. Mitigation, when we have to assess the vulnerability of all services, hazard assessment, mapping, disaster preparedness, and early warnings, as we are talking today. We have to monitor, predict, and record data, communicate data to people at risk, and so on. Disaster response, after the disaster, we have to reach people affected, provide aid to them, rescue, inform them about their family, food, hospitals, water, and so on. And even at the last phase, disaster recovery, we have to inform them about their work, their home, the situation after this disaster, what's happened, how they have to do to recover from this disaster. So we can see the importance of the pillar 3 of the early warning system. Here we have some important rules for telecom ICT in early warning system. The first rule is that the telecom infrastructure must be reliable and robust. So we have to provide some redundancy, some power backup. You know, when we have a disaster, even all this infrastructure could be affected by disaster, and we can send any message to people. So we have to work on a strong and reliable telecom infrastructure. For example, we have to use a dedicated frequency and the channels just for warning system in order to not be congested during the hazards. Replace the affected infrastructure by using movable or deployable system. You know, when some tower cells of mobile network are affected, we have to install quickly some removable cells just to cover the region that was affected by the hazard. Warning message could contain all pertinent details on hazards and understood by all people affected: time, location, action, and guidance, what they have to do, what actions they have to take, and so on. And finally, adopt common standard for data transmission from different hazard data source to communication channels. The common protocol, which the ITU has defined, I will talk a little bit later on it. It is a common alerting protocol. This protocol, I believe that's this one. The common alerting protocol is introduced by ITU through its recommendation X1303, aim to provide a standards interface between all data sources with the communication channels. And we have seen again in the presentation before that the United Arab Emirates installed this protocol successfully and allowed to have all type of data warning from sources transmitted to the communication channel to all peoples at risk.
No, sorry. The session is supposed to be closed in 5 minutes.
Wow.
And you have still 12 slides, I think. And there is still one speaker. So I would invite you.
Okay, I will go quickly. Okay, no problem. I will go quickly. Yeah, okay. So I explained already what is a common alerting protocol. I just want to show you that we have a lot of coverage of mobile in Arab countries is very good figures regarding the coverage of mobile network. And for this reason, we can use the CB and LB SMS technology to provide data dissemination. Mobile subscription is a good value also in Arab countries. This is a CB and LB SMS. It's a technical presentation, so I will not go in details in this. This is an important part for affordability of ICT price. The Broadband Commission in ITU set a goal or a threshold to 2% to have an ICT services affordable by peoples. And we see that Arab countries are below this threshold, which is good. Even it was improved between 2022 and 2023. Here we have a gap in Arab countries regarding the ICT services. It's a lot of difference between coverage in rural area and urban area. This gap should be filled in the future. Some facts about Lebanon that I collected from the ITU digital development dashboard. We have a good coverage for mobile network. We have a subscription on mobile. It's a good level. On the fixed level, it's a little bit low, and it has to be improved. I will end up just for some recommendations to all stakeholders working on telecom and ICT infrastructure in all countries, especially developing countries. They have to maintain and update a map of risk or vulnerability of the telecom ICT networks, taking into account the different type of disasters, define services that are at risk. We have to see what type of service is at risk, as that could be collapsed during the disaster. Define a regulatory framework to make the use of mobile network mandatory for public warning. Maintain a database for emergency that collect all data related to the hazard and to the ICT infrastructure, either vulnerability, level of risk, location, and so on. Use warning channel specified for ICT context. Interoperability, again, this is a CAP protocol. since all warning systems have limitation, we have to adopt complementary system that use many type of channel and don't rely on just one type of channel. And at the end, we have to educate people, train people to understand this message disseminated to them. Last recommendation, just as I said, one statement. When just yeah, okay. Okay, just one statement. When we save the life of ICT service, absolutely we will save the life of humans. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ahmed. Definitely, ICT is one of the crucial aspects to work on early warning system. With no further delay, I would like to invite Mr. Qasim Chalan, who is the director of DRR in Red Cross LRC, Lebanese Red Cross, and he's also currently co-chairing the MENA Climate and DRR Community of Practice Working Group. Qasim, over to you quickly for the firefighting mode that you always do. Over to you.
Can you just please put
Yes, please.
I will do it in 5 minutes.
Khalas, we agree. No, yalla, one second. Yes, here it is. Let me share my screen. This is you, right? Sorry.
Start already with the last.
No. We cannot leave communities. Khalas.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Okay, so as we all know about the DRR, it's really about adaptation, so I will adapt accordingly today. So I will be focusing on the part related to the community early warning system because it's already covered by all of the colleagues, and I will and again I will highlight on what is aimed by Dr. Ahmed is really that we should have multi channels for the early warning, especially if any one of the system down, and here where it will come the importance of the early warning system and the early warning mechanism. And in order to contribute for the early warning at the government level, this is very important when it comes for us as a Red Cross and Red Crescent to contribute with a national early warning mechanism. And by contributing through the Pillar 4 where we are leading, it is not really standalone. And this, onion model showing the coordination at the community level, going up to the national level, and from the national down to the community level. Now, again, this is showing that we already have the commitment for these pillars. And one of the important elements that I will highlight here on the disaster risk management cycle is really the anticipation and the early action part, where in the old school, it was doing preparedness, response, or the preparedness, and we have the early warning, but we don't have the anticipation. And even if there's early warning, there's no early action. So this is one of the very high important element we should really highlight on. And the second element part, to have early action, early financial in order to have better response. That will not happen if these 4 pillars not doing very close coordination internally at the country level to make things happen. And it's very well presented by Dr. Shadi earlier. Again, who's really involved through all of this process. For us as a Red Cross and Red Crescent, we play the auxiliary role for the government. We follow really the national plan and we contribute through our business. And as it's mentioned by Dr. Shadi, we have 2 projects going on, one related to the anticipation with the German Red Cross and the other one related to the flood early warning as well. And this is already part showing the engagement with the community level, engagement with the scientific party, engagement with the DRM structures in order to come together. Again, for us, it's always the people they are center. We have the people they are center approach, doing very close coordination, communication, capacity building to maintain the sustainabilities for them. This is 2 projects. Again, this is a quick part related to the winter storm project that we are doing for the anticipation. Scientific study already done by CNRS and Meteo Lebanon. Based on that, we choose a winter storm. We put the priorities, focusing on health impact, looking for the fuel, poverty and food insecurity, selection early action, it's like, cash assistant, and early warning, early action communication for that. Again, the important part for the anticipation is really to match the triggers, do the selection of the action to reduce the impact, financial mechanism to have allocation for the fund. Again, who's really involved? All the main stakeholders that I just went through. Here you can see Dr. Shadi in the middle of the pictures as well. Again, who's we are supporting is really the most vulnerable groups through selection criteria. Same goes for the for the flood part. Again, we are contributing to the community-based surveillance for the anticipation for the part related to the diseases in coordination with the Ministry of Public Health for early detection and early action on that. Again, quick recommendation on that. We should really engage everyone and to make sure everyone at risk. We very well communicated with them, close coordination with all the relevant actors that we just mentioned, data triangle and bridges gaps between scientific and community data. And this is the important part what we are doing, using the right tools and methodology to enhance the system and design anticipation action with no harm and no regrets. And thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Qasim. I truly appreciate your efforts, and it is I love the word that you say, no harm, no regret. So I would say that together we stand, together we fall. If we don't work together, we will not stand anywhere. So thank you very much, all speakers. Unfortunately, we don't have the time for question and answers, but I really truly appreciate the respected speakers, panelists, audience, ESQA colleagues for letting us have this useful discussion. For further discussion, we will be sharing I think the material will be available. And you can have discussion with us also. My email is as a focal point. I look forward for further collaboration. If we can have because after you inspired me so much, Qasim, with lot of pictures, if we can have a group picture here, that would be fantastic. Thank you and goodbye.